Hi everyone, so my name's Leoni and I study evolutionary ecology. So I thought it would be fitting that I should tell you about the evolution of my path through science. So obviously, I all started at high school, loved biology, anything to do with animals, and of course, as soon as you mention that, the first thing you get is, oh, so you want to be a vet then? Now, I have one problem with that, quite a large problem, and that's that I actually like animals. Now, think about it, your average vet has a body count that Genghis Khan would be proud of. They should really just be honest about it and hand out a cloak and scythe with every diploma. So I decided on zoology, and there's lots of animals here, and I don't have to anally probe any of them. But as somebody pointed out, if you really want to, you probably could find a way. So I decided on zoology. So as an undergraduate, it's pretty black or white. Either you want to play with dolphins and you become a marine biologist, or you play with monkeys and become a primatologist. So to help me make that very difficult decision, I decided to join the Undergraduate Expedition Society. And this is where students raise money during term time, doing lots of very silly things, so they can go away in the summer and for a few short hours between hangovers, carry out some research. So I got to go to the Caribbean paradise of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, I've always loved swimming. As a child, I braved the cold waters of the North Sea. Swimming, kayaking, surfing. Wasn't actually good at any of them, but really it was just a victory against hypothermia. Who knew that not being able to feel your extremities was a handicap and these sorts of things? But of course, Trinidad was an entirely different experience. Crystal clear, warm waters, snorkeling, watching turtles and stingrays gliding past, slow rolling waves gently lifting me up and down, and thinking to myself how lucky I was to be there, experiencing that. And then there's being sick into your snorkel. And while I will admit that by chumming the waters you get to see a lot more fish, really, that's where my dreams of becoming a marine biologist died. Rampant seasickness is not a job qualification. So I had to think of something else. So what about monkeys? Everybody loves monkeys, don't they? Well, once you've had to teach an undergraduate class, you get a whole new perspective on shit-flinging primates. Also turns out that studying monkeys is quite expensive. So I needed to find something that wouldn't break the bank. I needed something that breeds quickly, breeds easily, and likes low-cost food. And no, I'm not talking about kerikatona. Though at the moment, I'm sure she'd be glad of the work. No, I'm talking about the glamorous world of the Lepidoptera. Now, for the few non-Lepidopterists in the audience, because I know it's a very common pastime, that's moths and butterflies, and I use them to study camouflage and warning colours. For example, some caterpillars out there look exactly like twigs. I mean, exactly like a twig. It's amazing, really it is. But the problem comes when you have to clean out their tanks. There's a good possibility that I've accidentally thrown out at least 50% of my breeding population. There are other few stumbling blocks. For instance, there was the massacre of 2011. This is when a spider and her many children got into one of the tanks. Lifting the lid on that was like looking at a scene from Arachnophobia. Cobwebby death everywhere. So usually I'm the first to go with the catch and release strategy of dealing with spiders. But in this case, I decided to make an exception and went with the kill it with fire, scorched earth approach. I really felt that she deserved it. Sometimes, when you even get down to, doing an experiment, you can have your off days. Like when you realise that for the last half an hour, you've been looking at the behaviour of an actual twig. Now, of course, not all animals use camouflage. Some use bright warning colours to signal and advertise that they are armed and dangerous. The Glaswegian equivalent of this is a Kappa tracksuit and a bottle bucket. Of course, some animals try and cheat the system. They're advertising their bright warning colours, but really they're hoping you're not going to call their bluff on it. This is like finding out that heavily tattooed biker you saw is in fact a transcendental florist called Moonchild. And of course, not all warning signals are visual. But as children, my sister and I, we knew that a strong and unpleasant smell was a sign that we had to be in our best behaviour. This was because when under a great deal of stress, our dad suffered from gastric distress. And that scent was a sure sign that he wouldn't be taking any nonsense that day. Of course, one of the great things about working with moths and butterflies as a scientist is that you get to leave the lab occasionally. You get to go outside, see that great big ball of fire in the sky, and do a little bit of field work. So there are obviously some dangers to field work that you don't find in the lab, especially when you're working in some of the less savoury areas of the Glasgow park system. When you start to get a little paranoid, you start to think to yourself, is that guy, is he walking his dog, or am I about to be mugged? But generally what you find out is just that they have really bad taste in sportswear and fortified wines. Anyway, I hope you take all that into account next time you're out in Glasgow's parks, and I hope you've enjoyed it.